Broadcasting live from the Business Radio X studios in Birmingham, Alabama, it's time for Birmingham Business Radio. Now, here are your Business Radio X hosts.
Welcome to another exciting and informative edition of Birmingham Business Radio. Stone Payton here with you this morning, my co-host and partner in crime, conspicuously absent. He is on walkabout down in Florida. Lee Cantor, wishing them well, but I know that he'll come back revived early next week, and we'll get back at it together. But today is going to be a fantastic segment. Please join me in welcoming to the broadcast Creative Director with Lewis Communications, Mr. Jason Corbin. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Well, we are delighted to have you on the show. In fact, I even confided in you before we went on air. We actually have designs on getting a permanent studio in place there in Birmingham. We're so delighted to begin capturing some of these stories from the Birmingham market. Tell us a little bit about mission purpose of Lewis Communications. What are you guys out there trying to do for folks?
Yeah, absolutely. Here at Lewis, we're a full, first of all, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. And thanks for, highlighting Lewis here. We're a full service advertising agency. We work on a handful of clients within banking sector, healthcare. We've even done work for Good People Brewing, Tiffin Motorhomes. So we have a lot of different clients, a lot of exciting clients, a lot of great clients that we work with. And we're creating work within printed spaces, broadcast television space, radio space, which you're very familiar with, obviously. And then, even social content and, out of home and really anything they come to us with, as well as a lot of strategic thinking as well. So that's one hat that we wear, and we wear well here at Lewis, is putting strategy first and how are we reaching the right audiences and targeting them with, proper work and within the proper mediums that really resonate with the audience.
Well, you had me at Good People Brewing, so I'm impressed already.
Yeah, we did all their, I think pretty much every can design that they have. And a little, some swag work, T-shirts and whatnot, some of the wearables and fun stuff like that. They're a great group. We love working with those folks.
So I would like to, for my personal benefit, and I think our listeners would profit from this as well, unpack some of these terms that lay people like me kind of throw around, advertising, branding, concept. And let me confess to you, we're kind of a one-trick pony at Business Radio X. We don't really do the advertising thing like a lot of traditional media. It's more, it's more crafting shows to serve a specific niche, that kind of thing. But advertising, when it's done right and put in its proper perspective, apparently is a really good thing and works really well. But could you kind of describe your take on some of those strategies and tactics, and how sort of your initial conversations with a new client unfold? Yeah,
absolutely. Yes. I mean, typically what happens is, whether it's a client, we've had a history with, or if it's a brand new client. For example, there's a great new distillery opening up here in town soon. It's called Dread River. They had no space, had no brand, had virtually, nothing. And they came to us and said, hey, we really want to get this off the ground. We need a new website. We need some interior signage. We need help with packaging. They needed everything, even social content. And so, they came to us and they had a problem, and, it was basically getting their name out there and getting their building off the ground and their business off the ground. And so, we sat down with them, we put together first a strategic plan. What's the best way to approach this, from a messaging standpoint, from a site design, what do folks really need to get out of that website? How do we advertise to the consumer? How do we reach people in the Birmingham area, as well as, maybe Atlanta, Chattanooga, Nashville, Mobile, any surrounding area where folks may be coming into town and thinking, hey, they've got a distillery here in Birmingham. Let's go check it out, right? Because I've heard of it. So we take that, we sit down, we take the learnings from those conversations. It's very, very informal. It's almost like friends at a round table thinking through how can we get the most out of this and what do we need to do to accomplish great things together, as an agency and, as a client partner. And then we go to work. We take those findings and we begin to make things and design things and put it all together, with that one goal in mind being, success, right? Ultimately, that's what we're looking for our clients. And then success for the agency as well, because if we get to produce great work for great clients, that can then lead to greater things for us and potential new business for the agency as well. But it really starts at that strategic level, thinking through working with that client, with that brand, and solving their problems. Because that's what we do essentially here at Lewis, is we solve problems. Clients come to us, they say, I've got an issue, I've got a need, or I've got something I want to do, and we help them get there.
So as you were describing that process, it's beginning to occur to me, and I think maybe for the first time, the technical skill, the creative bent, all that's almost table stakes. You guys must be you'd have to be really good facilitators, if not therapists, so that you're drawing this out of people, right? Because they don't come prepared necessarily to articulate all this stuff effectively right at go,
Correct.
Right?
Yes, correct. Yeah. And, again, it's case by case. There are, there's clients we've worked with for years, Tiffin Motorhomes. We've worked with them, decades. And it's, it's a different relationship with them because, we know them so well, they know us so well, and they come to us with a problem, and we kind of already know how to solve it just by nature because it's secondhand to us and their business model and what they're doing. But yeah, new clients, they come in and sometimes they don't know. So it is, walking them, down the line and helping them get to where they want to go. And yeah, you kind of have to, there's the good and there's the bad. And at the end, you get to a great place, and that's the goal. But yes, it is just like you said, it's very different, especially with new clients.
So do you find yourself?
But it's fun. We love it.
Well, I can tell you, I mean, it comes through just in this conversation. I mean, your passion just comes through, and I'm sure that's the same thing happens when you're sitting across the conference table. Now, do you find yourself in need of exercising I don't know if it's a set of disciplines or something to keep you from having to play what my wife would call go get me a rock? Like, I can envision a challenge in your world being you go off and you create all this way cool stuff, but yeah, that's not really what I was talking about, Jason. That's not what I had in mind. I mean, how do you avoid that?
Yeah. That happens. Well, that's a good question. That does happen. And again, the beautiful thing about this business, and sometimes it can be, a downfall of it. And I guess that's sometimes in life in general, right? Whether it's creative or anything you do, even buying a car, everything's subjective. People, there's things that people like, and there's things that folks don't like. And same thing goes with brands and businesses that we work with. And again, for us, it's making sure that strategically, we're on point when it comes to the messaging. Yeah, there's going to be things where there's color palettes or font usage or photography or whatnot. But if all the work that we create, if it's on message and on strategy, and we're targeting the audiences in the way that we've agreed upon with the client and we feel is best, usually the rest of it kind of works out. But yeah, there's times where I don't like that photograph, a particular image, or maybe that font's too large or things like that. But you work through those things. But for us, it's always making sure what we do. Because, as an agency, we've been doing this for a long time, and, we have a POV, and our POV is based on, sometimes it's based on results and it's based on data. And we come into it with that backing, pitching work, pitching designs, and we have rationale behind everything we do. We just don't do things because it looks cool per se. I've got, finger quotes up here. We do things with a purpose and with a reason. And so we tell the client that, and we work through it with them, and usually they go with us and they trust us because we've been doing this for a while. And sometimes they don't, and that's okay. But at the end of the day, we get to a place that's good, and usually we have great success.
Well, you make it sound cool, you make it sound fun, and it's clear to me that you're doing what you're
fun, yeah.
supposed to be doing, right? So what is your personal backstory? How did you end up here?
Yeah, so I went to the University of Georgia for journalism. And I worked there for the Red and Black newspaper, did a lot of broadcast television, kind of like what we're doing now, right? A lot of on-air stuff, more television broadcasts, worked for the university news team there. Did a lot of that and graduated, got back to Atlanta. And I thought, I don't know if I really want to move out to, say, somewhere in Montana and cover, men's lacrosse. Because I'm big into sports. So I thought, I don't know if I really want to do that. So, I've always been a writer, and I've always been, I consider myself creative for the most part, and like coming up with ideas. And, I've always had this eye on advertising. I just didn't know how you got to that, right? How do you write a TV commercial, or how do you put together a print ad, or what's the working order or the process behind that? So I ended up coming home, I did a little freelance copywriting, tried my hat at being an assistant golf professional, which is horrible. I'm still not very good at that. And then I ended up going to a creative portfolio school where they teach you advertising. So they teach you how to, properly art direct ads and campaigns, or as a copywriter, how to write really good, solid, tight headlines, or, television scripts or radio scripts. And you just get in it and you start learning and you start creating. And essentially what you're doing is you're getting a fake book or fake portfolio of advertising, which acts as almost a master's degree in this business. So you take that portfolio and then you take it to creative departments within agencies. Some people go all over the world, New York to London to LA to Birmingham to Atlanta, wherever, and you use that to get a job. So it shows your kind of creative spirit or what your mindset is and how you operate and work within the creative formats. And you hope and pray that someone likes your work and you get a job. So that's kind of what I did. I got my first job in Atlanta at Gray Worldwide. And I did a ton of work for Bell South. Yeah, good old Bell South.
Well, it worked. We all know about Bell South, so you did a good job. Everybody knows Bell South.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people that worked on that.
So,
that was a big one. Yeah, and then from there, I've kind of worked at a bunch of different agencies, small and large. So you kind of just keep doing it, and I've worked in a lot of brands and with a lot of great people, internally and on the client side.
So content marketing, is this part of your world, or do you wrap your stuff around content marketing, or does it impact your world at all?
We work around it on the daily. I'll be working on it right after we get off this call. So it's nonstop. I mean, the world nowadays is, mediums have changed so drastically since the addition of Facebook, right? Everyone's living on their phones. It's a video-driven world for the most part. So now, content used to be considered, it's a Facebook post or an Instagram post or whatnot. But now it's just those mediums are just another medium. It's just you can go produce a $500,000 TV spot and you can throw it on Instagram, or you can throw it into a buy that you got with CBS or on ESPN or whatever. So content is really everything. It just comes down to what are you creating, and where are you placing it, really. But yeah, so everything we create, we consider content here at Lewis. I mean, that's what we are. We're content creators. Even if it is a logo, that is still content to us, because someone's going to engage with it and they're going to react to it.
Well, what prompted the question for me is I was trying to envision maybe working with professional service firms. That's my background and my frame of reference. And envisioning that internal marketing person at a law firm or a CPA firm, and told, look, we need to do some content marketing, and then I'm seeing, that person going up and down the hall trying to get one of the principals to write a white paper or say something smart, or I don't know, go on the radio or whatever, and I can see them pulling their hair out, if they don't have, I don't know, probably some of the rigor and structure that a firm like yours might provide an effort like that.
Right. Yeah. We do that. And I think that's that's what's going on nowadays. Is everyone wants content. It's the funny thing is it's a good thing and a bad thing, but with everyone on their phones nowadays, anyone can be a content creator, right? So there's folks out there that don't even work in advertising per se that have millions of followers, and they're just out there making fun videos about whatever. There was a French guy, Jerome Girard, I think is his name. I might have butchered that, but at one point, he was out there creating these funny videos and doing a bunch of random stuff and just making stuff, all the time. And there were brands that were paying him, hundreds of thousands of dollars to be a content creator for them, because he had followers and he could make it really easily. So yeah, there are businesses out there nowadays who are thinking, we've got to get our name out there. We've got to create content. We've got to be, out in the market per se, or in the world, and have a voice. And so it's become a thing. It's increasingly, becoming more fast paced, and you gotta be a little more nimble. And that's one thing we've been doing here at Lewis is how do we work faster for our clients? How do we find the right moments where we can capture something and tell a story that is, interesting to our audience. So advertising is a very different market than it was, 5-10 years ago, even 3 years ago.
So a little different from that TV show that was so popular with Ad Men. That's not the way it is anymore.
Yeah, very, Very, very different. There are parts of that still live within agencies,
Right.
but yeah, the way you're creating nowadays, it's, you have an iPhone and you can shoot something, and everything's built in. There's so many apps for production. I've got a couple on my phone that I use, and you can just shoot things and edit it right there, and you can plug in microphones to your phone now. So it's a whole different ballgame. But it's fun. I mean, to me, I love it because you can be a little more nimble. You have to think a little faster on your feet, when need be. But we still do have times, we do it really well here at Lewis too, is, we have larger campaigns that need to be well thought out and well produced, and it does take time.
And with the brewery client and the distillery client, you probably still do have a pretty decent wet bar.
Oh yeah, there is. Yeah, it's good. Yeah. Yeah. We have Good People beer here. We have plenty of mini fridges around. So yeah, we do. We have a good wet bar. Yes.
So how does the whole sales and marketing thing work for you guys? Do you find that you need to, and you do try to eat your own cooking, or do you have to take a different approach to getting your own clients? Here's why I'm asking. You did a fabulous job, I think, of painting those initial conversations, what that's like, and those initial conversations. And I think you probably do tremendous work once you get to have those conversations. But is your phone ringing, or do you have some process for going out and getting the new business?
Yeah, it's both, honestly. We have folks that call us and reach out to us. For example, our lovely client, Dread River, they reached out to us. They're right around the corner. They came in and said, we need a website. We need some help. Can you guys help us? And we said, absolutely. And then there's larger initiatives that we go after where we have a very seasoned senior, leadership team from a new business perspective, that they are actively looking for new opportunities, actively looking for new clients that align with our goals, align with the work that we do well, and that we, would like to, essentially have a partnership with. So it kind of goes, our phone's ringing, and we're also, dialing up other people as well. So it goes both ways. And that's kind of the way it's always been in advertising, is, it's like any business. It's a sales business too. So there's, folks, and there's folks that know folks. And so there's a lot of deals where, are made through handshakes and phone calls. And then sometimes, you're actually actively pitching in RFPs. So, clients and brands will send something out into the world. And they work with a consultant agency, and they say, hey, we're looking for a new agency of record. We're looking in the Southeast, and that may fall on our new business desk, and we pick it up and we respond to it. And then before you know it, we're pitching for the business. So there's a lot of that happens as well.
So someone with your background, experience base, and mindset could probably help someone like me, a small business guy, and a lot of our listeners. I think we get enamored with this idea of brand building, but I think day to day we're doing a lot more just sort of tactical in the trenches stuff, and we don't really understand brand. So any counsel, anything you could offer me and other small business people on maybe some low-hanging fruit, some things we could do in this brand building area for our enterprises, any help along those lines would be sincerely appreciated.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's what it comes down to. First of all, if you got to find a voice and stand for something. I think that's the most important thing is, who do you want to be looked upon as, and what do you want to be? Because every brand has a different take on things, right? I mean, we work with a lot of healthcare clients that are, they want to focus on their people, and there's somehow the healthcare clients who work on that really want to focus on their technologies and what they're doing and how new they are. And there's people like Good People Brewing, where they just want to be fun and have a good time, and they want to be looked upon as a local brewery, right? But if you find out who you are, it's much easier to go out there and speak to people in any format you can. I mean, again, social content is the easiest, I won't say cheapest way necessarily anymore, but it's the fastest, most effective way to reach audiences because you're in control of it for the most part. You don't have to worry about necessarily buying ad space. I mean, you can't put money, you can promote social posts and whatnot. But if you can get out there and, build a good base of fans and people are following you, they're liking your content and they like what you're saying, then that can grow exponentially depending on how you approach it. And other than that, it's just, you can always look into, different ways of buying different media. And kind of targeting where you're at. If you really want to be local and you want people in town to know who you are, find out where people are engaging. What are they looking at? What are they reading? Are there ways you can do experiential things where you're out in the community and you're putting on events and you're getting your name out there that way with your brand? That's a great way to do things. And a lot of brands are doing that now because a lot of folks, they want to go out into the world. They go to an experience, whether they're at a concert and they run into a brand there and they think, oh, wow, that was really a fun thing that X or Y brand did. I want to take a picture of that and I want to share that and I want to tag my friends. And then you got it on social and it starts to grow, right? So those are kind of the easier ways to get into it. And then beyond that, it's more of your traditional marketing and advertising. If you can afford TV, radio, print, out of home, all that kind of stuff.
Well, I'm really glad I asked, and I think we could take that last 90 seconds and probably package it and send it to the MBA programs around town. So I'm glad I asked. One of the things that struck a chord with me, though. No, I'm serious, man. That's good stuff. But one of the things that struck a chord with me. You said stand for something. I could swear, I bet you one of my early mentors said something like that. But what a great reminder. That is a way, right? You got to stand for something.
Yeah.
And this
you do. Yeah, I believe that. You have to, especially nowadays.
And content marketing, experiential things like you described, that's a way to manifest that, to express what you stand for consistently. That's wow. That's good stuff.
Yeah, it's good. It's like one of my favorite brands. Yeti does a wonderful job of this. I mean, they've grown so fast. And one of my good friends, Jason Hamby, he's a national sales director for Yeti in Austin, Texas. And that company and the conversation we've had on and off the cuff over the years so is. They're one of those brands that I love, and they truly stand for something. They know who they are, they know what they want to do, they know what their audience is, and they speak directly to them. And they don't go left, they don't go right, they're not wishy-washy. And they're doing things, they're focused on communities, the content they create resonates with their audience, and they know who they are. And that's, I think, the more brands that are doing that, and they're partnering with agencies that also stand for something. Like at Lewis, we have a firm belief with for creating great work, and we're hyper-focused on really, really, really putting out the best content we can and being as human as possible. And that's what we stand for, right? And so we're looking for clients that feel the same way. So if brands and agencies have the same thinking and they align and they get together, I mean, that's where the magic happens.
Well, Jason Corbin, Creative Director with Lewis Communications, it has been an absolute delight visiting with you this morning. It does feel like an MBA class to
Thank you.
me.
Likewise.
I've learned a ton, and I can't wait to share this with more of our listeners. If someone out there would like to have a more substantive conversation with you or someone on your team to talk about some of these topics and explore working with you or just get better informed, what's the best way for them to reach out?
Yeah.
What are the best coordinates?
They could probably just email me directly if they wanted to here at Lewis, or they can always call Lewis Communications. We have 3 offices, so if you go to lewiscommunications.com, all the phone numbers are on there. But I work out of the Birmingham office. Obviously, that's our home base, and then we're in Nashville and we're in Mobile as well.
In Mobile, I grew up in Pensacola, not too far away.
Yep.
Well,
down in Mobile. Yep.
Again, Jason, thank you so much for sharing your story, your insight, and your wisdom. And it truly has been a pleasure.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Likewise. I've enjoyed it.
All right. Until next time, this is Stone Payton for our guest today, Jason Corbin, Creative Director with Lewis Communications, and everyone here at the Business Radio X Network saying we'll see you next time on Birmingham Business Radio.